Hey, welcome to A Growing Concern. Quincy Davis is a hip-hop artist, and he has multiple hats that he wears. He's into a lot of things, young people, a lot of energy, and we're going to talk a little bit about all of that. But welcome to the program, Quincy.
Hey, thank you for having me.
All right, you were on the Karma Show out there in Metro East a while back with Dan Shea on the Veterans for Peace Forum, and I see you around here and there everywhere. I think originally you were born in Portland.
Yep.
Out of 400 some odd thousand people, there's not that many that can say that.
Yeah, it's true. It's changed a lot in Portland. And, you know, like I grew up in Southeast, and yeah, it's definitely changed a lot. But I've come to love the area, like the whole Northwest, the Cascades, and
it's pretty hard not to. I mean, to me, since I've been here from Redding, California, where it's 110 degrees every day in the summer, seems like this is such a mild climate. You get some warmth, but you don't get really terrible cold weather.
Yeah. And, I've definitely come to appreciate it.
Yeah, especially if you ever watch the news or the weather, huh?
Right.
So you've been here for how old? I didn't catch your age.
I'm 30 now.
Oh, you just 30 years old.
Yeah, I just turned 30 in March.
And so, how long have you been doing your art?
I mean, you know, my whole life I've been like drawing pictures and stuff, and kind of doing creative stuff. My music I've been doing. For about 8 years, music production and writing lyrics, and then taking it more serious in the past 3 years. You know, my first album I released in 2013. So since then, I've been actually like learning about what it actually takes to do this as a career, to being an independent artist.
Mm-hmm. So you have your own label, or?
Yeah, I created my own, small record label called 7G Creative, to release my first album.
Well, as you know, nowadays it's a whole lot different than it was even 10 years ago, but 20 years ago, I mean, with desktop publishing, you don't have to have a publisher, and for music, you can do it in your garage and make it sound great. So you're taking advantage of the new technology, I take it.
Yeah, definitely, and it's an interesting time because, that is true, and also it's very like oversaturated, because everyone can be a rapper these days.
That's
everyone
a good point.
can be an artist. So the question is like, what am I doing to stand out and still stay true to my art, and still like, reconnect with the people that, how can I make my own lane, as an independent artist. So I'm learning that, and how to market myself. Hopefully
it's the inside lane, huh?
Yeah, the true lane, the path of the heart, or something that's connected with, as I've been taught, like Creator gave me this life so I could walk in a good way. So, I just want to do my best to stay on track that way.
Mm-hmm. So you say you have a specific target audience?
Yeah. I'm like a hip hop artist who's using the art form, or I'm a part of the lineage of hip hop, but I'm taking it lyrically. I feel like I'm taking it in a certain direction, and I want to bring in ideas and concepts that are like of raising consciousness and taking responsibility, and empowering ourselves in our communities. These are the ideas I want to bring forth through hip hop, these messages through this art form of hip hop. So I guess the target audience might be, first off, anyone who's interested in that kind of thing, and maybe, especially the younger generation, younger generation of visionaries, of creative beings who are, the younger ones are going to be the next leaders, of what's taking place now. They're going to have to take on the responsibility to create solutions. So I feel like my target audience, first and foremost, is anyone who connects with it, and then maybe the younger generation especially.
Mm-hmm. Well, like you say, they're the ones who inherit the mess we give them. Just like my generation left a mess for my kids, and now their kids behind them. It just keeps snowballing worse. Then you mentioned the word community a couple of times, but it seems like society, as a society, is moving in the other direction. It's moving more corporate. It's moving more, ship stuff around the world. Don't worry about buying stuff locally and all that. So the whole, you're kind of bucking the way the system's going right now, which is what rock and roll was to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this system is headed for self-destruction. Those who are, not in denial can easily see that the fact that where are we going to get fresh water, we're way past peak oil, so things are going to drastically change. And the question is, the way I see it is, what are we doing now to build some sort of foundation that's outside of the system? We can't rely on the system as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not against the system and those who work within it, because I think it's going to work on many different levels. But I feel like now's the time to take responsibility to think about how are we going to create something that's from the ground up, sort of a grassroots, community-based type of situation, involving how do we get our food, how do we get our water, and maybe not relying on the monetary system, which is, obviously they're like printing money, and it has to do with the World Bank and all these crazy systems that are already corrupt. So, I think it's about time to think about what are we going to do when this whole system crashes under its own dead weight, because it's hollowed out from the inside. So now is a good time to start to create those networks based in community and grassroots level,
working together.
Yeah.
So how does your art? I mean, obviously through your lyrics, you're probably going down that road. How other ways are you doing it? Because I know you're involved in projects.
Yeah, I mean, right now I feel like I'm on my path of learning and growing, and like figuring out how to integrate these teachings into my life. And like Gandhi said, we got to be the change we wish to see in the world. So I feel like I just need to do my best to be the best person I can be, and just be an example of what I talk about, just walk my talk. And I can't say I have all the answers, but I can do my best to walk my talk, and just be a living example. And then from that energy, maybe it might inspire other people. I'm an artist, so that, like I said, I translate ideas through art, through video and music and stuff. So I feel like that's what my gift is, and maybe that can inspire, especially the younger people, to carry it on, and in a way that's taking responsibility now for future generations.
Well, I know from what you've been saying, and well, I should back up a little bit. The first time we bumped into each other, you had just done a video using the background, a line of police officers from the Occupy Portland, and is that the one that you used some words from John Trudell?
Yes.
Did you do one after that?
That was the one.
That was the one, and I know that you've been impressed by John Trudell and his speaking about, don't ever lie to yourself, and a lot of the different things that he said about we are the people, and they're mining us, and rather than thinking about them indoctrinating us, they're mining us. And he said a lot of things, and I know that you were I don't like to use the word impressed, but you were influenced. There you go. Influenced
big time
by him. And how did he affect you?
Yeah, he was a real big influence for me back, when I first saw the documentary called Trudell, and then got into his work, and he just brought forth these ideas that really opened my mind, and started to change the way I looked at it, everything, really. So that was back in 2010, I think. And some of the things like what you're talking about, he would say, we gotta recognize reality rather than emotionally react to reality or to what we see, because that's how the ruling class power structure set it up so that we get triggered emotionally through things like Facebook and the news, to keep people stuck in fear-based perception of reality.
And reactionary.
Yeah. And so it starts with coherent use of our intelligence, like he talks about.
Yeah, he uses that word a lot, intelligence. And he kind of came with a whole new twist to it. It wasn't totally new, I should say, but I mean, his ideas of intelligence is I think a little bit different than the academia uses it.
Yeah, I feel what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see it what I think of is like more like holistic intelligence. Like he said, Creator gave us this intelligence so we can use it responsibly. It's not just mental disconnected.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like education, education, academia might be a little disconnected. This intelligence is more like connected with your heart maybe, or your intuition. And that's the part we need to be able to access, that kind of intelligence.
Sure. Well, like you say, most people think of intelligence as a mental situation, whereas animals have incredible intelligence. It just isn't our intelligence.
Yeah.
There was something on Facebook about this the other day. They were talking about intelligence, but they didn't even mention the fact that the only intelligence they were really talking about was human intelligence. And that's who knows what else is going on out there. And it seems to me that we do a lot of programs on animal rights, and even though I don't consider myself an animal rights activist, I consider the fact that this country tortures living things for clothing and for cosmetics and for entertainment and all these things, and those are intelligent beings. And I don't know if Trudell specifically was thinking about that, but I think his thought of intelligence was much more universal and expanded than the typical thought.
Yeah.
And it sounds like what he had to say really struck a bell with you.
Yeah. What I think of as you're talking is, animals have enough intelligence to not like destroy their own habitat, Mother Earth. And humans' intelligence has the power, they create atom bombs, and sometimes they drop it on, Japan and kill all these people. That's a certain kind of intelligence, but is it really, it's not, it's like lacking like a wisdom or something, it's lacking a consciousness of understanding that we're all connected, so we got to get back to that, because we are all connected. That's just the nature of reality, and we got to take care of Mother Earth, and we got to respect her, she gives us everything.
And she does bat last. And we're starting to find that out as the climate changes, and as people are so disconnected from each other that they're going at each other's throats. Not that it hasn't always been that way to some degree. I mean, 10,000 years ago, I'm sure people were at each other's throats too, but they didn't have as big of toys, and they couldn't do the damage that they may change the climate in their little sphere of life, but they couldn't affect the whole planet. And I imagine, not that I haven't really, heard a lot of your hip hop, but is this the sort of things that we're talking about that you discuss?
Yeah.
I guess discuss isn't the right word. Express.
Yeah. I mean, I touch on some of these things we're talking about. I'm still figuring out how I can express it in a way that connects with people, because I can't just right off the bat say like, humans are, destroying our ability to live with Mother Earth. Get our stuff together. Yeah. I can't just go out and say that. So I kind of weave it in there in a way that might connect with people. And mainly, I'm just telling a lot of my most recent album, mixtape, which is called Remedy, which is right here. You can get it on Bandcamp.
Did we get your graphics so people know, a website or anything for you?
Yeah.
That was all set up there?
It's QuincyDavisMusic.com.
That was it. Yeah.
So go ahead and you can find it there. But anyways, on this latest project, a lot of it is telling my story of what I've been through and sort of the choices I made to just make more, just to follow my dreams, I guess you could say, and not live in a self-destructive way. So it's connected with what we're talking about, because like I said, we got to change from within first.
Well, that's where it all comes from, like the quote you gave from Mahatma Gandhi, that to be the change that you wish to see in the world.
Yeah.
He had another one that was really good. A reporter asked him one time, "What do you think of Western civilization?" And he says, "I think it'd be a good idea." It seems to me, that's what you're doing. Is you're trying to move us away from whatever road we're heading down and create a real civilization, because this is not civilized.
Yeah, that's what John Trudell talks about. so-called civilized is the great lie. You know, there's the so-called civilized world, and yeah, I mean, we basically have to remember what it means to be a human being. Is what my elders have taught me, and just come together on a community level, because you know we are creating the future every day, like all of us, with our thoughts and with our feelings and with our intention. We're envisioning, we're dreaming the future, whether we know it or not, whether we're conscious or we're unconscious of what we're thinking and what we're feeling and what we're dreaming. But we have the opportunity now to envision the kind of world we want to see for our children, our great grandchildren, and try to, at least know within ourselves what that might be, and then kind of like stay with that intention, and focus on what we want to see. Focus on the solution rather than the problem.
I think sometimes a lot of that can be found in the imagery we use, or the words that we use. You think about it, you ask somebody, they say they're a citizen or a consumer, or an American, whereas the Native Americans, their words for themselves were always the people, the human beings. So they had things more directly into a situation which was more a complete person, like you're talking about, not just mental, or not just how they make a living or all that. It's a total person.
Yeah.
And I think that's always struck me, that so many different of the Native American tribes, that word that they call themselves, I think it was not Cherokees, but I think that might have been one of them, but quite a few of them, that's how it translated. And the answer has always been there right in front of us, it seems like, all along. And and quite often all societies, it's the youth who change the language by their use of slang, and it's the youth who see things fresh, and that's what our artists are doing, I hope, and it seems like that's what you're doing.
It's so true what you said. Like, it's embedded in the language itself, the English language. Not to say that the English language is bad, like good or bad, but that means we have to be that much more vigilant about how we use our language. That's what I'm hearing, because we, like my elders talk about how politicians can use the English language to, it's set up to tell lies. But for example, indigenous language is, you can't really tell lies. I mean, it's because the culture is embedded within the language, and the culture comes with the understanding of the nature of life and the nature of connection, for example. So it's like, it's more a language of connection, I guess you could say, compared to a language of disconnection. And that's a generalization.
You're stretching my mind out trying to grasp that. Yeah, I can understand what you're saying. That's something that's like a time joke. I mean, it's something that sinks in as time goes on, and you reapply it to what's going on around you, and you start seeing how it applies to different things.
Right. Even our own thoughts, how our thoughts are disempowering or empowering or connecting. I'm worried. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's something I want to evolve my own language. The choices words I use and everything,
and how they're put together.
Yeah, because the old pattern. When we come into this world, the society starts to program us, and condition us.
They have to. Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the indoctrination process. And so, it takes some willpower to get out of that, to change the old patterns.
Well, we're trained from the very beginning that a good person is an obedient person, and an obedience is. I mean, that is not a number one trait. It seems to me that's the trait of a slave.
Yeah.
And some people think that that's the main thing for religions, is to keep people docile.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Of all the different religions, the only ones I've ever really well, after 11 years of Catholic school, I should say, that over the years I've come to have greatest respect for Buddhism and Native American, because their imagery is not the Great Father. It's the Creator, something that's large, and that's part of what you're saying is, we need to expand. I guess you would use the word consciousness in the very beginning, and trying to figure out how to put the fact that the question, I should say, that you're reaching out to people, trying to affect a change in consciousness through language and music, both. I mean, there is music in this as well, or is it just talking?
Oh yeah, and the music is powerful, Yeah, I mean, my work is definitely music and lyrics, rapping over it, in ways that might go into the subconscious, because music, that's why the entertainment industry is really controlled. The messages are really controlled, because those in power know how powerful music is in entertainment. So I understand that, and it's I don't feel like I'm trying to change people's minds. I just want to speak my truth, from my heart. I just want to do my best to, whatever inspiration comes through me and I translate into lyrics and into music, I just want to do that because, it's Creator. It's all praise the Creator. I'm just here at this time putting the work in and doing the best I can to stay on track. And
sometimes that's all you can do. Right?
Yeah, keep my head down and not be distracted too much. And then wherever that goes out in the world, I trust that it will connect with the right people at the right time.
Well, like they say, a teacher is someone, you never know what effect a teacher will have out there in the world. And you could say the same thing for artists as well.
Yeah.
So, well, a lot of what we planned to do tonight revolved around some videos, and I wasn't privy to how you organized to play these. What would you say? You had two short ones had to do with your work with youth? Was that the first ones?
Well,
I don't know.
What if we watch those at the end, towards the end?
Okay. Yeah, because we can work our way towards that.
Yeah.
So what was the first one you wanted to play, and you could kind of set that up for the control room there?
Well, we could watch why don't we watch the What's Going On with John Trudell? It's got the police state, the one that you talked about.
The one I mentioned. That was a good one. Yeah, it was powerful imagery.
It's labeled Police. So this is my first ever music video, and I made it about 3 years ago.
All right, let's hope they can get that going now.
Off my first album called Permission to Shine, which is available on my website, QuincyDavisMusic.com. You can get it for free if you enter 0 on Bandcamp. Just enter 0 and put your email in.
It wasn't okay. Far from it. Flint's tap water was laced with dangerous levels of lead. The state knew about it and did nothing.
The trouble began 2 years ago when the state decided to switch Flint's
I see no changes. Wake up in the morning and I ask myself, if life's worth living, should I stash myself? Clean water for my family to survive. In Flint, Michigan, did we listen to the cries? Got me thinking as I'm watching water flow down the drain. Not knowing where it goes, it's a shame to know people die every day from the thirst, while fresh water flows to the lawns and the birds. They got it good, but what about the rest? We never know who's next. Why they trying to privatize water? In my home state, got the cascades on lock for their profits to raise. All around the world, controlled by Nestle. But if I try to catch the rain, they'd arrest me. For the dollar bill, where does it end? Could you want the water? Could you want the wind?
Do you hear me? Tell me, do you hear me? I'm in need of purity. There's nothing pure for me to drain. Are you trying to own the water? Who do you think you are? You better give us what we deserve. We need it as pure as our heart.
Knees weak, arms heavy. They say they care about us, but they don't. Just cause I'm poor, don't mean I'm not ready to give my body to the greater good of yours. Of course, the war's breaking out so I see the drought through the windows, but it's stained within the pain of the chains that I stayed. Even though back in the day there was broke, I wrote to put my broken soul into the ink of the pen. Paint a picture of this vision of Picasso, a man I seen a throne built on power, greed at the head. Sheep is a wolf in his skin, in the middle riddled civilians belittled by the mighty men that are willful. That says your basic needs aren't fit for the grip of pistol. Your water contaminated, your race is not superior. You don't know your history, we flip in this pyramid. Purify me, in my reach, swear that I got it. Life that I thirst, that surrounds my body as I open up the bottle. I ain't finding no water. Say purify me. Yeah, I can't believe what I'm seeing. I've been trying to find a reason why my family is bleeding in a land full of water but can't drink it.
Do you hear me? Tell me, do you hear me? I'm in need of purity. There's nothing pure for me to drink. Are you trying to own the water? Who do you think you are? You better give us what we deserve. We need it as pure as our heart.
Purify me, need to find a way to live with my serenity. With Tony, water of life, so holy, sacred. What will it take us to remember, never take it for granted? Tell me what they search for when they look at the planets. Yeah, water is life to grow the seed in the trees. We need the trees to breathe.
Do you hear me? Tell me, do you hear me? I'm in need of purity. There's nothing pure for me to drink. Are you trying to own the water? Who do you think you are? You better give us what we deserve. We need it as pure as our hearts. 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 As pure as our hearts.
Lance, camera operator. Oh.
All right, we're back. Obviously, it was the wrong one, but it was a good one because it talks about water, and we're talking about looking at the world, you know, like through the lens of what's sacred, and we didn't specifically state it in those terms, but that's about what we were talking about, and this was about water, and what inspired you to do one on water?
So my friend from Boston, he's a rapper, and he was a part of putting together a mixtape related to Flint. You know, it was basically a mixtape for the people of Flint to help raise funds for this day that was called Hip Hop Day for Flint, which was March 19th. And so he contacted me before, and he asked me if I wanted to do a song about Flint. And at the time, I didn't think, you know, I wasn't planning on doing it, but I was just like, okay, yeah. Let's do it.
You're easy.
Yeah. Well, yes. A lot of people contact me with ideas, and honestly, most of the time I say no for whatever reason. But this thing like inspired me right away. I was just like, yeah, okay. And then I just found this beat, contacted my friend Toledo. Shout out to Toledo. He's the other rapper. So he's a educator and rapper in Portland. And I said, hey, do you want to get on the track? He's like, yeah. So he recorded his verse, or he sent his verse in like a day. I recorded mine in like 2 days, and within like a week we had the song done, and then we went and shot the video out there at Bonneville Dam and used stock footage, and the whole project was done in like 2 weeks.
Who was the female there? Was she
the little girl?
Well, there was. I just looked up and saw a gal with long hair.
Yeah. So her name's Antonio Marquis, and she sang the chorus, and she lives in LA. And I just reached out to her, and she recorded her part in LA, sent it,
and you just worked it in. Huh?
Yeah, yep.
The magic of nonlinear editing.
Yeah, it's a cool time right now to be collaborating, because you can collaborate with people all over the world.
Mm-hmm. Well, this thing happened at the same time we were having our local situation with water. Not so much in Portland, although we do have the Willamette River being poisoned, and the ongoing issues with cleaning it up. But with Nestle's, where an international corporations wanting to come in and through promises of jobs and a few other sleight of hand, trying to take the water from the national forest, basically. And I know that had to have been in your mind somewhat when you were doing this.
Yeah, so I didn't even know about that until I started doing research before I wrote my verse. And so I looked into Nestle Corporation. I saw the connection with what's going on in Flint, and then I found articles of this guy who got arrested because he was catching rainwater and other and he was like doing a little dam of a stream or something. But anyways, he got arrested, and some other situations with water here in Oregon. And then I heard about how people were resisting Nestle coming into the Cascade Locks. And so when I learned that, I put that into my verse.
Well, there's been places in this country or in other parts of the world where they've been in drought situations, and Nestle just keeps pumping the water. And I don't know why they're not being stopped, but I guess it's because the government is corporate as well. Probably, I guess is what it gets down to.
or the corporations have more power than the governments. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, a lot of cases, the government is just the public face of the private corporation.
Right.
So I know we're down to about 26 minutes, and you say you had a few more, and maybe they can get the one that you mentioned earlier, and we can put that up there, and we can still get back to water as time goes on, but I did want to play the one that you originally introduced, if we can get that.
It's labeled Police.
It's labeled Police, yeah, that's right. But once they play it, they can't.
There it is.
There it is, all right.
What's going on? You look at the leadership, or you look at the institutions, or the things that are held up in these esteems. None of these things seem to have any spiritual relationship to life.
Yeah. At times the situation's heavy on my heart, still I rise. Articulate my vision while you feel the vibe. In this manipulation game, it seems I'm ill-advised from killing lies, and finally realize it's real lives that bleed. But do we feel they cries while dreams televise, sell us lies, and kill what's real inside? Debris, systematic soldiers spray rounds with no precision. Motivation, motivation, globalism, no religion. It seems unspoken, television, culture, vision. Protecting broken dreams like codes in prison. Selecting vote elections, but won't connect the dots. Self-deception, like followers of pro wrestle plots. Complain you best stop when this game of chess lot. They think they're next to God, police stay check the blocks. Investors stock dollars drop, then commence the cops. Real revolutionaries know the struggle never stop, never stop. Real revolutionaries know
the way that the cancers of greed and war, the way that these viruses, these diseases have spread, and no one is really taking responsibility
What's going on?
to effectively deal with these things.
So we're the real revolutionaries, real hypnotized by the shadow play in front of your eyes. The systematic programming, one with the hive. Energy, predatorial abduction of minds. This seduction in the matrix, put trust in the lies of these elitists. Mass manipulators lead the people. I see the codes like Neo, hungry ghosts feed the ego and live lost. Forget to realize what the real is. Rick Ross used to be a prison guard, and he still is. Until the killers and the $100 billers who ain't got no feelings, we recognize what the deal is. You swallowing that blue pill and following Masons, feeding in to the new form of colonization. For some bread and a place up in the matrix. Think you got it all figured out, cause there nothing is safe. I don't respect you cause I don't respect the system. I got visions of freedom cause I won't accept the prison. Visions, freedom cause I won't.
So whatever this disease of aggression and violence and greed and all, whatever this disease mentality is that lives in this life system now, it's eating up the spirit of the diseased. When we leave as humans, we go back to being human being. That really means something. But we live in a reality now, or in a time where I would say to anyone, you know, protect your spirit. Protect your spirit, because you're in the place where spirits get eaten.
I remember that ending, that kid. That's great. So obviously this covers a lot of what we've talked about here, and the dubbing in of John Trudell. I mean, we've actually used his music on some of the productions that we've done, you know, that I've edited together, and he just says, you know, use it. Just use it wisely, and then use it, you know, don't be using it to make a ton of money necessarily. And I appreciate his openness about that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, we actually connected when he visited, and I did an interview with him.
I remember that. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago. He came here for like the hemp fest.
Right, before he got real sick. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it was there that I asked him, you know, if I could use his voice, his poetry for some songs, and he was real, like you said, he was really open about it, and he was just like, you know, send me your ideas and choose, or he was like, choose whatever you want out of these poems and go ahead. And yeah, I mean, that's shows someone who's, you know, like selfless, you know, really doing it for the people. You know?
Right, and not to mention trusting.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate that, you know, we have to make a remark about that because it's rare.
For sure.
You know, so I know even with what I do, you know, there's been a couple times I've wanted to videotape a presentation, and people were really reluctant until some of the people that were organizing it, you know, vouched for me that I wasn't going to use it to make them look stupid or whatever, because that has happened, you know, when they've been out there and done a presentation and someone used it to do say the opposite of what they were saying. And, you know, like we were talking about words a while ago, you know, words aren't that direct. You can move them around, and you can make black look white or purple look green if you're adept enough at it. And as a wordsmith, I'm sure you're aware of that.
Yeah, I can see that. That's why I can break down like media, you know, how news coverage is, and they can take any story and they can kind of twist it in a certain way, however they want. So that's why, you know, I don't really trust anything that I see when it comes to corporate news, because I usually, you know, they usually have an agenda.
Sure.
So it's interesting to see, like, oh, okay, so they twisted it like this, you know, being someone who knows how editing and video works.
That has taught me probably as much as anything else, any reading, whatever I've done about what's going on, you know, in this country, and is the knowledge that I've gained and the technical knowledge of doing video, because you can realize how it's so malleable. You can take something that's one way and make it look another, just by the timing of it.
Yeah, and they're very skilled at it. Got to give them credit.
Give the devil the credit.
They're like, you know, master manipulators.
That's what it's all about. Well, with 20 minutes left, you had a few more to play. So what next one did you have on the agenda? Hopefully we got them lined up here.
Well, let's see. It's one of two. The two left they're both kind of personal. So these were both more political, social ones that we saw, and these other two are more personal and go into my story and struggles I've been through, and
that's what makes the artist.
Yeah. Try to transform that pain and suffering into some positive, creative.
All right, well, let's move on into one of those, and we'll just kind of potpourri here.
Deja vu.
Am I scared to live? Am I scared to die? I'm feeling paralyzed, staring at the barren sky. Dealing with this mind full of parasites. Taking trips on a slave ship to paradise. Slave ship to paradise. Slave ship to paradise. Slave ship to paradise. Dealing with the sickness. Feel I need a brain scan, something got me twisted thoughts. Not of the same man, trying to make the game change with the same hand. Gambling with several cards, I got the hangman. Trying to be the king has got me feeling like the fool again. But I ain't trying to feel this pain rooted in the shame. To circulate my brain and change the mood I'm in. So let me open up this wound again. I'm sniffing up the white, I gotta move again. Sleeping with the demons, now it seems they moving in. Yeah, it's me and loneliness, my only truest friend. Cycling from dream to light, feeling deja vu again. Damn, feeling deja vu again. Yeah, I'm feeling deja vu again. Feeling deja vu again. Am I scared to live? Am I scared to die? I'm feeling paralyzed, staring at the barren sky. Dealing with this mind full of parasites. Taking trips on a slave ship to paradise. Slave ship to paradise. Slave ship to paradise. Slave ship to paradise. Addiction to the shadows, visions of a casket. Thoughts in my brain is like slave to the master. Stuck in the dark phase of this rites of passage, initiation. Now I'm trying to break this shell off. Sleeping with the demons, now I'm trying to shake this hell off. Speaking of my peoples, yeah, they probably said I fell off. Deep in this hole, doing low life shit. Got me wondering how low can this low life get. As I'm feeding it, the sickness seem to grow like this. It's like something's got a hold in my soul like this. And though I feel so alone and feel cold like this, the truth is, now I kinda feel at home like this. What the? Now I'm feeling deja vu again. Damn, feeling deja vu again. Yeah, I'm feeling deja vu again. Am I scared to live? Am I scared to die? I'm feeling paralyzed, staring at the barren sky. Dealing with this mind full of parasites. Taking trips on a slave ship to paradise. Slave ship to paradise. Slave ship to paradise. Slave ship to paradise. But wait, on this day, I don't want an escape. I keep fronting on reality in front of my face. The break chains to be a struggle, but too much is at stake. Seems I only play myself, trying to hustle my fate. On this day, I see the blessings testing my soul. Responsibilities like flesh, it stretch when it grow. Fire started from a spark, life start with a breath. The journey of 1,000 miles always start with a step. On this day, I see the change behind me. I'm not believing in the lies that's inside of me. I do this for the family tree, my unborn seed. Seems I made it through the struggle for my eyes to see. Now, can I finally live? But on the day I die, I'll be shedding tears of joy by the way I cry. From living with the truth that I know, I fulfill my purpose. I step aside as the river flows. Finally live on the day I die. I'll be shedding tears of joy by the way I cry. From living with the truth that I know, I fulfill my purpose. I step aside as the river flows. Step aside as the river flows. Step aside as the river flows. Step aside, let it flow, let it flow, let it flow, let it flow home.
You know, it struck me that the struggles we all go through, they're so much usually more internal, but once they're given voice through specifically, especially I should say with imagery, but with the words, that just makes them so much more powerful. It seems like I'm sure everybody that has grown up has you know, their cross to bear as well, and the fact that a lot of times it's the artists that talk about that and talk about what other people would not want to talk about. So it's you say that there was another one that the first two were for political or external world, and the second two were more of your own internal expression.
Yeah.
And so how does the second one differ from the first one?
With this first one, I remember after I finished this song, I finished it, wrote it, recorded it. I just felt like a weight was lifted off my back. You know, it was it was like better than any, you know, therapy or anything.
Catharsis is the word, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I experienced that, and it was like all that energy that was there was able to be free, and I feel like I was able to, as an artist, you know, it's not easy sometimes when you're in the creative process to try to get it right, but I feel like I'm able to transform energy, you know, like that. It's like changing the past, because I can transform the energy into like the end. The message in the end is sort of one of like more positive or of light or empowerment. Like I can get through this, and so I'm able to take all that energy and transform it. So that's what I try to do.
Mm-hmm. Is that what you did with the second one as well, or does that have a different takeoff point?
Yeah, this one, the second one, the difference is it kind of goes more into the spiritual path that I've connected with in my life, and which is connected with Lakota spirituality and these ceremonies and these teachers that have really changed my life. So I wrote this song, and then you'll hear like a prayer in there, and so it kind of is my way of, you know, honoring these ways and my ancestors, as because I know that my ancestors have helped me to get through all that we saw in the last video. My ancestors were there to like be like guardian angels or whatever you want to call it, and so I give thanks to them, and I'm glad to be alive. Thank you, you know, Creator, for this day.
All right, and that leads us into the fourth of four.
Warrior.
It's for you, Grandma. Hope I make you proud. We're gonna see the truth one day. That's my word. But now we're gonna be the proof. It was all a dream. I used to read the Source magazine, a young hip-hop fiend before 17. By 18, my mind shifted to the dark side, and by 20 I was loading magazines. Visions of myself in a hearse in the worst way. Figured that I'd never see my next birthday. Sick thoughts got me lost in the games that this motherfucking curse play. Damn, now I'm a dropout, and my fam look at me funny. Cold stare, chip shoulder, don't look at me wrong. Broke, stick up tight, plotting for money, but why the faster it come, the faster it gone. I feel I need the game, but it's leaking my veins. I found the right lyrics for keeping my sane, and plot my escape through the bars. Strategize the best way to play these God-given cards like this. Yeah. At this time, I ask permission to shine. Ancestors, spirits, grandmothers, thank you for your protection energy over the years. Now I'm passing through the eye of an invisible storm, smoking till the mineral gone. I'm feeding for peace from these demons causing literal harm. At night, my street dreams turn to physical form. This criminal charm has got me low-key composed, even though it's feeling like holes up under my soul. Through these high blocks, in the rear view stressor from the cop stop. Paranoid, watch the top block. Living in a dream, seeing the nightmare prevail. Shadows of the night, living life in a veil. Seeking truth from my people who died. To repel it, can't explain why I was given this light, but I can feel it. Rest my head by the graves of natives, feed the soul. Grow to let the spirits know I made it. As the world keeps spinning like a carousel, we can't sleep knowing death is the path of hell. Mother Earth, Father Sky, Great Spirit, Great Mystery, thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity to be here on this earth. Thank you for the help and guidance. I intend to continue forth on this path I've been given, one step at a time, one day at a time, to learn and grow, become who I'm destined to be, for my family, for my unborn children, do my part for the 7th generation, lay the foundation, protect and fight for my people, and to lead the troops through. This invisible maze in this matrix of lies. At night we make moves with the stars in the skies. Guided by above, the real revolutionaries guided by love. My people in the blood that travel my veins. My lineage is deep like the Huns when they travel the plains. Now word is my weapon and these lyrics just hit me. Cause the ancestor warrior spirit is with me. And when it's time to fight, I know it's one of lost. Long before I danced under those lights. Responsibilities for the power to free. Intelligence, perception, the power to see. Your guns and your money, that ain't power to me. Up inside, that's the only powers that be. I got a path, so I gotta get on track. I recognize life as a gift, so I gotta give it back like this. Yeah. Guidance, helping me to see and understand. Much love, respect, and gratitude. A home to our creation. It's for you, Grandma. Hope I make you proud.
That was so good it was going to play again. Good job there. It got on a loop somehow, which it happens occasionally. And that was a whole lot more upbeat. I mean, especially in comparison to what went before it. But the spiritual, we're all on a spiritual odyssey, whether we know it or not. And being aware of it kind of puts you ahead of the eight ball a little bit. Of course, it probably makes the down more intense, but it makes the up more intense. So that as well. So here we go. We got that up there. Now we can also, when that graphic's done, we can put up the phone. We got 5 or 6 minutes left. My gosh, that's not a lot, huh? It sure went quick. But we can put up the phone number. But the Quincy, you also had, you've been working with the youth. There we go. And we'll give it a couple minutes if we get calls. You've been working with the youth, and forget the name of it, but you've got a couple 30-second ones we can get to if folks don't have any questions or comments.
Yeah.
But what is this the youth you're working with?
So me and 2 friends started a nonprofit organization called Cypher Cure, and you can check it out at cyphercure.org.
That's CYPHERCURE.org, and basically we've been meeting with the youth, and we've been sort of building this idea with them. So figuring out what it is they want from this type of organization. So basically it has to do with workshops, and it has to do with doing showcases, and also going out in nature, which we haven't done yet, but my elders have taught me that it's pretty simple. One of the big things we can do is just get the youth out in nature to just experience that frequency of nature, and it's a natural learning process and the silence of nature too.
Yeah,
that's a big one
for sure.
Especially when you're someone that's always right there with something, or or you're on the internet. And exactly. I'm glad to hear that. So I think we got a call here. First caller, you're on the air.
I'm here. Are you there?
Hey, we are. Can you hear us?
All right. You know what? I want to thank Quincy. I saw one of your videos a few years back, and I basically caught the very tail end of it. And all I could get off the tail end of it was a film by Quincy Davis. And so I went to the library and I Googled that and found the title and everything like that. And it was Subconscious War was the first video that I saw of yours, and it was awesome. And so, being the good community access media viewer that I am, I called my community access media station and I says, hey, can you play that again? And by golly, they did.
That was Metro East, I think.
Yeah, it was. It sure was. And
we turned it in out there.
Well, they're all good. Everybody's good. PCM TV and Willamette Falls and everything like that. But so then I was watching another program. I believe it was done out there at Metro East with Jessica Alyssa Rose, and she had you as a guest. And a couple more videos. I saw the one with the Occupy protest, and another one where you did a song for. I believe it was to keep a foreclosure from going through. You were trying to save a family from getting foreclosed on, and just basically a backyard little get-together. And so my intention for this call, Quincy Davis, is to thank you so very much for what you do. I try to take every opportunity that I see, whether it's calling C-SPAN to thank Medea Benjamin or Ralph Nader, or whether it's calling Jim's show to thank Courtney Scott or anybody else, or to thank Jim himself, which I'll do right now.
I appreciate it.
Jim. And being a lifelong Portland resident, just like you, Quincy, I am so glad to see that you stuck around and you're hanging with it and doing what you can with everything that you got. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thanks for the call and the comments.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So we got about 2 minutes, and you say we were talking about the youth, and you say you got a couple 30-second ones. If we can put one of those up real quick, that'll give us about a minute when we come back. I had seen Frank heading for the computer there, because I think it's a good idea to do this. And you were doing this with some of the youths, right?
Yeah. I think we only have time for the top one.
Yeah, we'll just play the one. All right, we're back. That was a quickie, yeah. 30 seconds doesn't last very long. And that Cipher Cure is what about now?
Yeah, so that was our first ever showcase, and basically the youth performed. They expressed themselves. So a lot of these youth are really already really talented, and like their consciousness is already real high. Of course, they're still dealing with things that 16-year-olds or 18-year-olds, that age range they're dealing with, but they're really great kids, and so we want to connect with the youth and just try to offer our guidance and give them opportunity to experience community and discover their gifts.
Right, because I've said for years that we all have genius. It was just some people are born and like Beethoven, 5 years old, he knew it. But a lot of people go through their life and they don't find it. And the only way to do that is to play around and experiment. So, Quincy, I wish we had more time. Thank you for coming on the program. I learned a lot from my guests, and I learned a lot from you tonight. And I hope you can take away something yourself from this. And thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week.